Welcome back to Todd Hanger. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with the weekly news and review for March 29th of 2020. And it's been kind of a light week of news, but there's some big things that drop in every week. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of anticipation for the future. So let's get into this. So I want to start out by talking about my trips to Walmart, Target, and all those places. And about a week, maybe a week and a half ago, we were almost completely wiped out. Slowly, it's been getting stocked back up around here. I do want to say that my friends at Walmart have expressed some concern, individual concern, not corporate from Walmart, but concern that once the EBT cards and the welfare card, the food stamp card gets reloaded on the 1st, they're going to get wiped out again. And their concern is that they've been restocking these shelves, and they're going to have to do, a massive amount of restocking. So my advice to you real quick, person to person, human to human, anything you need to get through the next month or so, maybe more, but probably the next month, get it by the 1st. That's my belief, and that's all I'm going to say. Now, talking about some stuff at Show Z, you can go and pre-order Tesla 2.0 at Show Z right now. You can get that pre-order in. There's no price, no release date. Also the same thing with Fans Toys, Huffer, and you can get a pre-order in there and just get it started, get the ball rolling. But here's the odd point. Tesla and Huffer don't have a release date. Estimated release date, unknown. But you can go to Show Z right now and you can pre-order both of these guys. You can get their Jazz, the Fans Toys Jazz, or the Fans Toys Mirage, and it has an estimated release date of second quarter of 2021. So it's interesting that these guys just got revealed, and we've already got an estimated release date on them, which is, Show Z is really good about only putting up estimated release dates if they have some sort of forward guidance from the company. They don't just make it up. They've got forward guidance. So are these two figures going to get put in front of everything else? That would be a shocker, but it wouldn't surprise me. By the way, there is a nice digibash of Jazz. What do you guys think? Looks good. I'm sure the actual paint on from Fans Toys will look even better. More actual news of Masterpiece Transformers. We have a KO of the Black Arachnia, which I think is a record time. Well, it's just a pre-order and no release date yet, but it's still pretty interesting that this thing is up for pre-order at Show Z, and it's only going to be $65. So for those of you mathematicians out there, it's going to be $65, which is less than half of the $140 asking price originally. Now I think I got mine for like $120, but still $65 is almost half what I paid going through Amazon Japan. So pretty interesting. I know I've got it pre-ordered, although I haven't even opened the official yet. Yeah, that's odd. Why did I even pre-order? But it's a cool looking figure. Eventually I'm gonna get around to it. We've seen an interesting picture here of some of the exclusives that we got of the MMC's Azalea, and it's their version of RC. And it's not the Azalea, the other two Azaleas that they made, which were smaller and weren't really G1-esque. But this Azalea, they call it all kinds of other things. On the left, you have the prototype, the protoform. I think the one in the middle is the medical, and on the right is Nightbird with a weird face. But pretty cool looking. If you had gotten these for the different colorations, that just looks awesome. I just really think it's awesome, and I kind of feel like I missed out by not picking them up. Leave in the comments, what figure do you feel like you missed out that was like an exclusive, and down the road you're like, man, I wish I would have picked that up. Before we slide into third-party Legends stuff, because there are a few interesting things this week, I do want to talk about these Reaction Super 7 figures, and they've got the box, the packaging, which I think is probably equally the best part. They look tuned, they got the packaging. It's one of those things that if you collect vintage style figures in the packaging, then it's something you want. You are paying a whole lot extra for the card back, and of course the low production run. But here's Grimlock. I think it looks good. I like it. Not bad. Here is another picture of the Grimlock by itself. Promo pic. I think that looks good also. And, super tuned in a way. Yeah, the articulation sucks. Yeah, these aren't for everyone. I still like them. Now, I was thinking about starting to do some reverse mathematics to see how big this guy is, but I really think that this Rumble is roughly the size of the Masterpiece version. Now, I think he's too big to be an actual Rumble that would be Legend scale, but I think he'd actually fit on your MP shelf or a G1 shelf if you're going that route. But I do know MMC would be much bigger than this guy. Well, I would assume MMC's is much bigger than this guy. But you actually get the packaging, it says Rumble, the correct name. Hey, for those of you who care about the cartoon. Here he is in loose form, just another promo shot. Looks cool. It just looks good. I mean, you can't really get him to transform to look this good. Or can you? Then we're moving on to the shrapnel in its picture of the packaging, in-package shot, which is how I display mine. So I like it. This one's unpunched. Wish all mine showed up unpunched, but I guess they didn't. Here he is, loose. Now, this guy's going to be probably roughly the same size as the Legends from the Hasbro. So the Hasbro Legends one. So it would be towering over the New Age? Yeah, New Age is the one that made them. And lastly, this guy here. The one I'm the most excited about out of this little wave of 4 is Skyfire Jetfire. And the reason is because we don't have a good version of this character available for a decent price for your Legends collection, Legends shelf. And I'm going to buy 2. So I'll have one in the card to display the card back, one to put on Legends shelf. I will cut it open and put it on the Legends shelf. But I think he'll look great on your Legends shelf. And unless you want to get I think the only option out there is Iron Factory. And Iron Factory stuff just like quadruples in price once it sells out. So I'm not going that route. So Legends news seems like Beast Wars is taking over the Legends realm. Right now, we do have the Beast Wars Transmetal 2 Megatron, or is it Transmetal 1? No, Transmetal 1 Megatron coming due. You can actually order it now. It's coming in stock. It's starting to ship. The unique thing about this, or the important part about this, is the first thing that has shown up at Show Z of my pre-order list that is actually, you can order it. Everything else that shows up on their site, you can pre-order it. This is the first pre-order come due that I'm going to pay for and then get it in the mail. So I'm kind of excited. That means that something's starting to work over there, which gets me excited, which leads me into the next point, which actually isn't Legends. There is an email going out, or whatever, an update, about the Sheridan, which is Warpath, coming from Toy Dojo, talking about how it should be arriving soon. There's been a buzz on many different sites talking about when's this thing going to arrive, when it's going to be in stock, and I think once this guy shows up, I think all of the release schedules, we could just start saying, okay, if this thing's 2 months behind, everything else is 2 months behind. If it's 3 months behind, everything else 3 months behind. So still, people are assuming 2 or 3 weeks out, 2 weeks, but it's exciting knowing that something is starting to happen. Wheels are starting to move. So I look forward to it. Now, from the company TransArt, which gave us the Transmutate, which I think is a cool figure. I like it for what it is, for the price. It's great. They also made what appears to be like a Legends version of Beast Gorilla Chrome, but I don't know much about that other figure. But this guy looks pretty cool. So here we are with getting a Legends scale version of the Transmetal Optimus. They call it Skateboard Gorilla. Why is he called Skateboard Gorilla? Because he's a gorilla with a skateboard. That's a pretty simple name. I really like that what they did with their Transmutate figure. It's pretty cool. It's really simplistic. I don't know how well their transforming figures transform. I haven't handled any of that. So I do look forward to this guy, though. I think it'll be pretty cool. One of the few figures that in the Beast Wars that I really liked the way they were originally. I thought that it went closer to what, like a robotic look when they started going Transmetal. That's what got me more excited about Beast Wars, because I really did not like Beast Wars at all until they went Transmetal. Then I kind of opened my mind to the whole thing, And so it's kind of important to me. And yeah, you can do this. This is a thing you can do with this guy. Whenever I see a picture of like mass quantities of something that hasn't been released or is just getting released, I love to share it. I love these pictures. I love seeing, this appears to be just one case of the new age Lucifer, their air commander, this gold version of Starscream. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool figure. I know everybody wants a clear one, and then there's the one that's partially clear, but the Golden Lagoon stuff always sells. Now, Mechanics Studio or McFans Toys already put out their version of the Rodimus. Now, this is Flamewalker, their version of Hot Rod. Here's the weird thing. I saw this and immediately wrote it off as you're just getting the same figure without the trailer. And I decided to stop and take another look at it. And looking at piece by piece and part by part, this is a different mold. And then it's like, why did they bother? Because when they made the Rodimus, it transformed into a hot rod type of alt mode also. They had such a different transformation. Why bother? Well, they bothered. So they're making a hot rod and a Rodimus. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why they're bothering. Why not move on to a new character? That's what I would think, but I'm sure they have their reasons. And there's some transform element, the Rattrap. It looks good. It looks good. It looks like in the rat mode, there's going to be little to no articulation in anything, but still looks good. I like the way it looks. I think it is pretty cool that this is what I would like to see Masterpiece do. What's going on right now is that aside from New Age and Magic Square fighting each other over a handful of characters, the rest of the companies that are throwing stuff into the Legends scale are making their own thing. They're just like completing it out by each doing their own thing. I wish that they would sort of do that with Masterpiece and divvy it up and say, I'm going to do this character, I'm going to do this character, I'm going to do this character, so we can get it all and just knock it all out. But no, we're getting 3 Minosaurs, 4 Minosaurs maybe, and did that kind of stuff getting battled out instead of what's going on in Legends right now. Mostly in Legends, you're seeing all these companies coming up with their own thing. I like it. So Generation Selects has their set of 4 Sky Patrol 3rd Unit 4-pack, and this is what they look like sort of by themselves, sitting on top of an Acer computer. And then this is what they look like when they're all playing around with Soundwave. And I guess mixed in with some of the other cassettes. But a couple interesting pictures of them. I like them. I just kind of feel like they're too small. And my problem with them is that as cool as they are, and I think they're cool and I like them, but I feel like everything in the modern day mainline, the majority of that stuff is bigger than what we got in G1, except for when it comes to cassettes. So I'm kind of like, well, why not? Why are cassettes so small? Why did we dumb them down so small? I mean, I guess it's because Soundwave is only so big, but I really would have liked them to at least be the size of G1. Doesn't going to stop me from picking them up, you know. More pictures of the Seacons, Pronicon, assembled and looking good. I think it's a good looking figure. Here's the thing for me. I feel like Hasbro is turning a corner on their combiners, and it just starts to make me think more and more, what would a combiner look like if they did like a Minosaur or a Computron? Every time I look at this, I can't help but think, what would a modern day Minosaur look like coming out of there? Because I think Minosaur was their biggest fail out of all of their figures that they made back in the day. So the Minosaur in Combiner Wars was bad, and even with Upgrade Kit it looked okay, but what would a Minosaur today look like? Would it rival the Masterpiece? I mean, with what they're doing with Siege, with the fact that Takara's on board with it, what would that look like? And I can't help but thinking about that when I look at this. So we got some interesting pictures of this new figure. It's like a whole new class of figure. The Battle Master that turns into some sort of a ramp or connector piece or shield. He's a triple changer. he's a mini-con or whatever. He's a shield and he's a connector piece. What do you mean by connector piece? Well, you can string like 8 of them. Is this 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of them along and do this. This is something you can do with them, but understand this is still $6 a figure, so that's $42 to achieve this add-on, by the way, plus tax. So we got some magazine scans, and to show it's been sort of a slow week, they're still just rehashing same old stuff. Here we go with some Skylinks, so I won't talk about it too much. You can just see there's a few different angles showing you the landing gear on Sky, I guess, and then links, how it could be a brick. More pictures of Sky, so 2 full pages just showing off Skylinks, which, you know, it's one of those characters that needed some love, I guess, and didn't get it the first go around, so now they're going to get it for sure. And then this shows a whole lot of stuff on one page. And what I like about it the most is the fact that I'm really excited about a Quintesson. You know, I'm sure there'll be an upgrade kit for it. And I'm excited about the Alicon. So really exciting stuff. And that's the pink Takara Tommy Mall version. That's going to come out in some sort of a pack or whatever. And I am looking forward to Smokescreen. Looks pretty good. And oddly enough, the Bumblebee Jeep. So everything on this page, I'm more or less excited about. And then there's more stuff that's showing off some studio series, and then showing off the next masterpiece, which is a cool looking figure. He looks pretty good. I've got a spot for him on my shelf, so I have him pre-ordered through Show Z, and he's like $180 through Show Z, so he's cheaper than the $220 price point. So get on that pre-order if you're into it. I'm still trying to get my mind around this thing. I saw a couple pictures of it. It's cool. Whoever thought this up and made this up, I got to tell you, I have both of these figures that I never thought to do this. But if you look at the Bayverse movie where Optimus Prime and the old Jetfire that was not matching Skyfire whatsoever. But anyway, he gave Optimus Prime his parts so that he could have more armor and power and all that stuff. Whatever. But this does sort of resemble that. It looks pretty cool. I've been trying to figure out in my head how to do it. I thought about actually partially transforming my Skyfire to do it, and just for fun, because this is 2 of my favorite characters, but I haven't done it yet. I still think it looks cool. So Hasbro's CEO, Brian Goldner, is coming out talking about how China is gearing up production. He's had a lot of things to say. And boosting his stock price. That's all that great stuff. But the truth is that China is gearing up their production. China is way past the worst part of their problem. The silent enemy problem that we keep hearing about. So they're past all of that. And now they're moving into actually producing stuff again. And so that's going to boost the price. They're also saying that there's a massive increase for the toy market. There's a lot of increase in demand, which is going to shoot the stock price up, which gets pretty exciting. And it's kind of fun because it is relevant to both Star Wars and to Transformers and to G.I. Joe. Hey, we finally got a figure that looks good from the G.I. Joe 6 line. I have to admit, the little bit of stylization that they have to this doesn't really bother me at all. This, I kind of thought, I almost want to say I knew it. I almost want to say, because I have said it, that the bad guys, the Cobra, is going to be spot on. Because the Cobra is going to look good. I just wondered, like, what are they going to do with the head? Instead of it being a perfectly smooth head on Destro, he's got some line work. I guess you could call it line work. But it's close enough for me. I think this looks great. The gun is different. I mean, we're getting back into how the gun's different. But it still looks good. I like Destro. I like how his gun actually has a holster and it works. That's kind of stuff you're going to get out of the 6-inch that you didn't get so much back in the 3 3/4 inch in the vintage days. They were trying to work that into the modern 3 3/4 inch. But this guy looks good. This guy gives this line promise. This guy also makes me think that all the Joes will finally get a classic eventually. Who knows? I'm not gonna lie to you. I keep my fingers on the pulse of Star Wars, and it's barely there. I'm like, are you still alive, dude? But GameStop seems to be the biggest thing going on, and then of course the hot toys and all that stuff and the statues. But GameStop does have this guy up for pre-order. You can also go and get Revan now. Right now, Revan is available for order in stock on GameStop.com. And then you can also get the droid on back order. So some stuff you can get going on. And right now, I think something if you buy one, you get one half off. Or if you buy a bag, then you can get discounts. So I'm not sure how the bag works online. And since most GameStops do only like curbside kind of thing, I don't know how this is working. Because the bag's supposed to be in store only. You can't walk around in the stores. Really strange. So there's a Mandalorian statue that's coming out, and it's $134.99 or something like that. And you know, I'm not into the statue life myself, but I do think it looks pretty cool. One thing that I noticed about statues is that it can give you an almost perfect life-like representation. And I'm noticing it more and more with people's collections, especially when people have a collection of them and they group similar ones together. I can kind of see why people are into statues, but it's still, I'm not sold on it myself. But for $135, I mean, this is a pretty good representation. Still cheaper than either of the options coming from Hot Toys. Last thing about Star Wars I want to talk about is if you still collect 3 3/4 inch, you like 3 3/4 inch, you want to pick up 3 3/4 inch, there's a seller on eBay that goes by the name of Tunghori, Tunghori, and I'm not promoting them in any way, but it's a way to get these figures if you want them loose for, I guess, a reasonable price. But this is the Klatooinian Raider for the Mandalorian ATSD. So if you don't want to spend $80 on the ATSD, you just want to get this guy, or if you want to get a couple of this guy, then you can order from him. He's only got 3 available right now for like $27 plus 5 shipping. So yeah, that's the thing. Also, if you want to get just the Brock Star, well, am I saying that right? I know he's a guy that was one of Jabba's skiff guards. When the Cell Barge came out, people were commanding a massive price for this guy, and then they reissued him in a 3-pack. But if you want him just by himself, you can get him there for $16.99 plus the 5 shipping. And I think if you order like a handful of figures, like all the shipping will get combined. I don't know. I've only ordered once from him, and it was years ago, so I don't know. But I've gotten everything I've ordered from him, so it was pretty cool. Next, you can get a Yak Face. It just seems like the Yak Face Sail Mare has sold out everywhere, and it's just hard to get. So if you want a loose one, man, I ordered him multiple times, and every time he showed up beat up, from whether it was Walmart or whether it was .com or whether it was Amazon.com, showed up just beat to crud. So I guess all I've really got is a loose figure. I did get him about the same price. It's $15.99 here. Didn't have to pay for shipping though. And the last thing, he's got a ton of figures there. You can go check it out. Like if you're really fiending for a 3 3/4 inch loose figure. But he's got the Retro Collection Stormtrooper for $14.99. He has a couple of other Retro Collection figures even cheaper than this. I think people want to army build the Retro Stormtrooper like crazy. That's like one of the most commonly army built figures in the Star Wars realm. And so you could do that here. Well, he's only got 2 available. I don't know where he gets them from either. Like, where is he just getting these from? But anyway, let me know what you think about weekly news and review this week. What else have you seen going on out there in the world that is really awesome that I didn't talk about? Because, you know, I generally want to know. I actually like to stay informed and see what's going on. Like, subscribe, and Tidarium Hanger out.